Brunch with Brian. We're here. I'm a little bit late, but I talked about, I had one of the best, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, one of the best teaching Tuesdays that we ever had in terms of just understanding yourself and understanding how to help yourself be better. And so what we talked about was overcoming bad habits, beating bad habits and addictions, freedom from bad habits and addictions because they hold you back. So everybody, it's almost endemic in the human nature to have some kind of bad habits. I don't know anybody who doesn't have any bad habits. So, and most bad habits are pretty innocuous. They're not going to really, hold you back that much or damage your future. But there are definitely some habits that you would be a lot more efficient and effective. Habits are bad habits or addictions are really unhealthy. So they're number one, it's unhealthy. And number two, it's a time waste. And so the biggest thing in life is time management. And that's what I keep coming back to is that, the more when I was a young man, I was very idyllic. I was an idealist. And I thought, oh, I'm going to change the world and everything. And everything's going to be, all, go a certain way. And then you realize that you only have so much time and you can only do so much and you're not always effective. So we want to be our most effective. So why do we even do bad habits? For stress relief mainly. So we turn to a bad habit or an addiction to relieve stress, the stress of life, okay, and to it's basically a distraction and a comfort. It comforts you. And so let's get those things out of our lives. Let's deal with stress in a different way. So when you get a stress trigger in your life, act a different way. Okay. Now, I obviously we have connected through real estate, and sometimes I talk about issues, positive thinking, mental attitude, and a lot of other things, not just real estate, because those things are so crucial to your success in real estate. If you don't have, if you're not getting it straight, you're not, if you're not, if you're getting caught up in your bad habits and addictions, you're not going to be effective and you're not going to, you have to be sharp to be good in real estate. And so you're going to not be sharp enough. Hey, good morning, Isabel. Good. Oh no, Kenneth. Hey, Kenneth. I always recognize Kenneth. He's got that cool car and he does all those great hearts. There's Isabel. Hey, Isabel. Happy Thursday, everybody. It's a great Thursday. Memo, good morning. Oh, great teaching Tuesday. That was okay. Adverse conditioning. I like that one. Guys, adverse conditioning is when you know you're not being effective and you know you're about to give into a bad habit. Every time you see that trigger, we're reconditioning our minds. We're reconditioning our minds, our reactions to a trigger. And this isn't, it isn't brain surgery. It's Pavlov's dogs. Remember, now, do you know that Pavlov dog? Everybody should know that story of Pavlov's dogs. And so he's a Russian scientist. And so he would ring a bell, and every time he rang the bell, he'd give him food, right? So ring the bell, give him food. Ring the bell, give him food. So then he got to the point where he could just ring the bell and they'd start salivating. Okay, so they'd start, salivating, connecting the bell to the food. So you can do the same thing for yourself. You can condition your brain if you just have the same reaction every time. Look at your negative trigger out there. Everybody pick a negative trigger right now. What triggers you to do something unhealthy? Waste time, and sometimes, it could be stress. And that's usually, it's a response to stress is when you get into your bad habits, like just having a candy dish and eating candy all during the day. Every time you get a little stressed, you eat some more candy. Little bad habits like that can really add up. So let's try to clean up our bad habits so we can be more focused on success, right? That's the idea. Isabel said that this one really helped. And so substituting, one for another. So again, yeah, you have to identify the trigger. It starts with identifying your triggers. Now, what you can have positive triggers too. Every time your watch goes off at 7 p.m. on Thursday, it's time to call. It's time to get on the phone, and it's exciting. so you can set up positive triggers in your environment and avoid or be aware at least of your negative triggers. What takes you down a rabbit hole? What gets you thinking negatively or gets you acting in an unproductive way? Okay, and so what are those triggers? And let's identify them and then condition, substitute a new reaction. So every time you see that trigger, you do a different reaction. So you have to program it in, and then every time you have to do it. Because if you start slipping back into your old habits, and I always use Cinnabon for this. So you go to the mall, you're walking through the mall, you smell Cinnabon, that's the trigger. Normally you would race over to the Cinnabon and get a big gooey Cinnabon, right? But instead, you're going to think every time you smell Cinnabon, you're going to think of, well, one of mine was licking a dirty ashtray and throwing up. That's what got me over smoking. I quit smoking because every time I thought about smoking, I thought about licking a dirty ashtray and throwing up. And that adverse conditioning was enough. And you don't need a lot. If you just commit to the fact that you're going to do it, that's going to be your reaction every single time, it works. Adverse conditioning works amazing. But you have to do it every time, and you have to decide, okay, this is the trigger. Instead of thinking this, which is unproductive, I'm going to think this every time, and I'm going to act on it. Tie in a physical action. That's really helpful. So if you see a trigger and you have a physical reaction of every time raising your fists, that's going to be a positive physical reaction. So every time you see that, every time you smell Cinnabon, you go, I am thin and happy. Or, affirmations again. I love affirmations. And so affirmations are very powerful responses to triggers, more positive responses to triggers. I use affirmations all the time, and I think they're so easy to use. And the only reason we don't use them is we think we're too cool for them. And, I used to always think, oh, I'm too cool. Affirmations are too simple and easy, but stuff doesn't have to be complicated to work. And so every time, get your core 5 affirmations, your 5 favorite affirmations, one of which should be, I am a real estate winner. And then every time you see these triggers, think, I am a real estate winner, or I am a winner at life. I love my life. Those kind of really positive, glowing affirmations. I love myself. That's one we all need. I love myself. Sometimes we let ourselves fall into bad habits because we don't love ourselves enough. We're not being kind enough. Be kind to yourself. That's one of my big things lately is I'm really trying to be kind to myself. And I want you guys to be kind to yourselves. Noel and Kathy, great to see you guys. How do you create new triggers? Okay, well, I use my watch, my alarm on my watch a lot. Okay, so that trigger, my alarms are set during the week. So I know certain things I'm supposed to be doing. Triggers, I know what my schedule is. So I know what I should be doing at certain times. When my alarm goes off, I instantly leap into action. Now, if I started pressing doze every time my alarm went off, it wouldn't work. You have to react to your triggers. Now, you can set up another thing that's good for triggers is little signs. Now, I actually created a whole bunch of little positive programming signs. I used to give those out, and those are really awesome, and you can put them all around. And you know what? Let me dig those up because I haven't used those in a while. They used to come with our Psych Up system, was all these little signs. And so let me maybe we'll print some more of those signs, and I'll start giving you guys these really cool signs. Signs are really great triggers. I use a lot of signs. One of my signs is be kind to yourself, because that's one of my challenges. If I screw up, and I'm perfectionistic, I've shared that a lot, and if I goof something up, I tend to get down on myself. And so now a lot of times when I'm starting to say, oh, you screwed that up, and darn you, that was so stupid, what do I think? Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And that was really helping me lately. About the last 6 months, that's a new affirmation for me, and it's really been helping me. I've been kinder to myself. And so that's very helpful. You're more productive. If you're all mean to yourself, you're going to be less productive. Woke up this morning, pictured videos. Okay. There you go. I'm getting it together. Yes. So guys, yes, use affirmations, use visualization. Now that's a really good trigger too. Guys, visualization, if you want to be in the right role. Now, we're responding to roles. We're playing roles all day, even though we are doing it subconsciously. So what's my role right now? I want to be an intelligent, caring, sensitive, perceptive teacher. Okay, so that's as much as I can be. That's the role I try to play here. Okay, so and what role you're playing? You're playing intelligent, smart contributor and student, learner or whatever. You're learning stuff. Hopefully, you're picking up ideas. And boy, if you're interfacing with smart people, you're just going to pick up smart ideas if you're talking about the right subjects. So if you listen to me enough, yeah, you'll be a little smarter. I'll say a few smart things along the way, and then you can use those in your life. But I'd like you, if you use adverse conditioning, is really a good one. Morning, Caleb, my loyal bruncher. All right, so awesome. Now, so this is Thursday, so we'll be back tomorrow morning with our next brunch with Brian, and we're going to have an awesome one. And I'm going to talk about real estate tomorrow. I'm going to talk about pre-foreclosures. Okay, pre-foreclosures. What should you be doing to find pre-foreclosures? How should you be calling them? What scripts do you use to call pre-foreclosure leads? Okay, so if that's, and I'm telling you that there is a lot of markets now. Remember the moratorium? People think that's way in the rearview mirror, but because of loan modifications, oops, I'm teaching now. Okay, pull it back. Now that's for tomorrow. So I will teach about pre-foreclosures tomorrow. Get back to the real estate nitty gritty. Awesome. All right, and so I will see you guys then. What's our affirmation for today? I'm kind to myself. Might as well use that one. I've already said it a few times. I'm kind to myself. Okay, ready? On three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm kind to myself. I'm kind to myself. I'm kind to myself. Yay, that's good. Guys, if you're not kind to yourself, hopefully you have some people in your life who are going to be kind to you, but it starts with you. What do they say? Generosity begins at home. Be generous with yourself. Generosity begins with your own heart. And that really, it translates to other people. When you're kind to yourself, what happens to your relationships with others? You're kind to them. You start to be kinder to other people. And if you're not kind to yourself, if you kind of get down on yourself and mean to yourself, then it's easy to kind of be mean to other people. And so let's be careful. Let's be kind to ourselves, and that will spread the love to others. As deep breath in. Hold it a little bit and let it out. When you let it out, relax your shoulders, your neck. Okay, another one. Real deep. Smile. Yeah, and let it out. This is a really good impact on your day. Deep breathing and smiling. Another one. We always do 3 and hold it a little bit and let it out. Guys, do some breathing during the day. Don't forget, just don't do it with just me. That deep breathing is very invigorating. That's a good pattern interrupt. If you see a negative trigger, especially like maybe a food trigger, and you're going to eat a piece of candy or drink a soda or drink one of those monster drinks, boy, those energy drinks are just terrible. I mean, they have so much caffeine and sugar, a lot of them. So if you're reaching for that, do your deep breathing. Deep breathing is a good pattern interrupt. It's a good response to a trigger. Normally a negative trigger, do some deep breathing. Okay, I'm just trying to make you guys more effective. So when I'm talking about things like bad habits and that, just make sure, I am relating it back to real estate, because if you're all tangled up in bad habits, you're not going to be as effective as you want to be. So who else is on that's not commenting? Guys, that was the magic phrase. Yes, pattern interrupt. Pattern interrupt. Now, I admit I learned that from Tony Robbins. He's the one that taught me about pattern interrupts. So that's how it works, guys. You see a trigger, and then you have a response. What you have to do is interrupt that pattern with whatever it is. And deep breathing could be your pattern interrupt. Snapping your fingers, pulling your earlobes. It doesn't matter. But a good physical gesture is very helpful in your pattern interrupts. Okay. Yes, I'm rocking and rolling. Do something, physical. That's very helpful in your process. Okay. So let's do it. So let's have a great day. Let's have a great tomorrow. I will see you back here tomorrow to talk about pre-foreclosures. and it'll be great. So I will see you tomorrow. Until then, keep expecting success, getting awesome trading from the Wolf Couple, and doing what? What's Lynette's motto?